Football, there's a new crop of leadership at Ingwe led by Boniface Ambani after he was elected as the successor to Dan Shikanda in elections held at the Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi yesterday. Shitera, I'll start with you. Boni was here last week and of course he promised a lot of changes, and right now he's taken over the mantle. Remember Dan Shikanda, before he took over, he also came here and made some lofty pledges. Of course, he hasn't realized quite a number of them, including training ground, stadium, and all that. Boni is actually making that one of his clarion calls, and of course changes the technical bench. He's talked of signing players of pedigree and ensuring that contractual obligations are addressed. Basically, he has his in tray full.
I've just renewed my membership. I was on a sabbatical. Probably because of the poor run AFC Leopards has been posting. And I was very optimistic. So
you've renewed it because of Boni's win?
I've renewed it because of a new regime.
So you feel with this regime there's hope and things gonna work?
At least the worst Boni can do is replicate what Shikanda has done. And he has a very big room for improvement.
But I think good members, Shitera, would stay through
no.
and make their voices count by either voting in the out the wrong people.
You saw Zita started by saying it was a very peaceful election. Peaceful election because of people like us who decided to not make it so.
So these are
not to make instead of bringing in violence and.
You are confiding that you are
no.
You can cause violence. Yes.
No, I can cause because of poor leadership. But I'm not a goon. I decided to take a sabbatical. I'm coming back with so much hope. I remember we hosted Dan Shikanda here, and he said after so many years FC Leopards is going to win the Kenya Premier League. He's walking out empty-handed. In fact, the last successful AFC Leopards chairman is the late Alex Olemagelo, because he resuscitated AFC Leopards from relegation. At least AFC Leopards won the FKF Cup under his leadership. Under Shikanda's leadership, I think not so much has been experienced, and people have been on their blood pressure medication for the last, I think, 6 years. And Boniface Ambani has a very, very easy job to bring back everyone on board, number one. Number two, don't aim too high where you cannot reach. Start with the steps as you climb high. Shikanda really promised up there, but you can only reach there by starting down. So
from where you sit, what are the two key things that you think Ambani has to address as he hits the ground?
Number one, financial accountability is very critical at such a club like AFC Leopards. Number one. Two, bring confidence in the technical bench, because over years we've seen coaches come in, coaches go. We've seen coaches come in with interest, because at some point we saw Anthony Kimani performing very well at FC Leopards, but he was withdrawn without proper reasons, and someone else brought in, and he never achieved anything. And we knew for sure that this is a coach that is coming in, he will not achieve anything. And true to what we believed in, he never achieved anything and walked away. So financial accountability, number one, Boniface Ambani, it's your number one goal. Be transparent with whatever you are transacting at the den. Number two, confidence in the technical bench. Whatever Wakili Munyendo talked about, interference with the squad is something that has really been hurting not only the national team, but also the club level. I'm happy he's a former AFC Leopards player. He will try and give opportunity to the young lads that have been yearning to play for the badge, and they have been very good. I remember interviewing Homeboy's patron, Totoshi Manuela, and he told me the reason he started Kakamega Homeboys was the closed doors at AFC Leopards. He will have very good players that he thought would make their names at AFC Leopards, but they were shut down. The reasons why he started Kakamega Homeboys to try and supplement that area. So Boniface Ambani, technical bench, player collapse, and financial accountability. And number 3, don't change your character, because some people once elected in, power gets into their head. Simu zenye walikuwa na kupigia, they will no longer call you. Simu zenye walikuwa na chukua, they will no longer pick. And sometimes you don't call to ask for anything. You might have an idea that you want to drop that might help the team. So Ambani, who was at Mara Sugar, who promoted Mara Sugar into the Kenya Premier League, bring the expertise to AFC Leopards, and I'm 100% sure this club will transition and rediscover its lost glory.
Zita, before you come in, I know let's take a listen to what Boniface Ambani had to say after his victory, as well as some of the fans of the club. Take a listen.
So much we have to expect from me at the office. The guys who have been elected, so the work starts immediately tomorrow, because you need to understand the league is over, and we need to release the players. We need to know who is remaining, who is coming in. So much to be done. So the first work to be done in office, actually to know the control of the players, how they are, who is coming in, who is not going out. Yeah, I'm so elated. The last players, among the batch of last players who won the league in 1998. That was almost 27 years ago. So being here again speaks volumes, because I understand what fans want, what me as a player need, what coaches need, and so there's so much to be done, and the glory should come. Oh, I had a wonderful team behind me. The guys who worked behind me, I congratulate them. I lack words. Actually, they have done a very commendable job. I also like to thank my brother Namai, who is here, who later joined hands with me. We worked together and we delivered this. So it's something we have to do.
That's newly elected Leopards chairman Boniface Ambani. It'll come to you on this.
I was there the whole night. I can see the spirit and the belief that AFC Leopards fans have in Ambani. Of course, the margin of 600 to 1,100, that was like more than a half. That believed in the project and everything that Ambani had told them. But for me, one thing that when I talked to the outgoing chairman, he said that one thing that he really wants to see in the coming up team is the unity among the leadership. Because in his words, I'll just put it in his words, that he said that there will be, maybe in boardroom, making things together, but when you're going outside, this SG is talking different, the treasury is talking different things. So I really pray that Ambani has a team that will back him up, that will support his project, that will support anything that he's doing. Because if you have unity in the leadership, of course, it will transit into the technical bench, into the players, and into the fans. And then something else about transparency, the way the Shitera has talked about. Let the fans know what is happening, because all the time the players who are being signed, and then there's like inakuja kusema someone alikuja na our players ndiye aliwaleta. So let's have transparency in them so that the fans can believe in it. The AFC Leopards is one of the teams that has a very big fan base, and more than 80 branches, and all these branches have 100, maybe more than 100 people that have already registered under it. As I say that, I wish him the best. Of course, we'll be following up what will be happening. Of course, we'll be following up in the 100 days in the office. We'll be following up and knowing what is happening and telling people this is what Ambani has been doing. And again, congratulations to Boniface Ambani, and congratulations to the whole team, and congratulations even to the wanaitwa the Ingwe family for electing their chairman.
They are part of that family.
Of course. Wakili, yes. A lot of talking points, and basically what what the Leopard fan wants to see is a club challenging for the titles, punching equal to its weight. Leopards should be a giant, but the last 26 years or so, really, no league title, no footprints in Africa. Quite a Herculean task.
Yes.
How does the club rebuild in the next 4 years that Ambani will be in charge?
Firstly, let me begin by congratulating Boniface Ambani. Boniface Ambani's elevation to FC's presidency is actually an indication that we are growing old. I watched Ambani in the 90s as a player when he was still young, and he was a very, very good striker. And now today I'm watching him as a president. There are key things that Ambani should prioritize. One of them being engaging my colleagues or me in terms of transformation of FC's constitution. These elections were almost being postponed because some of the members of FC Leopards had sought for the registrar's interpretation of the second schedule of the Sports Act because it puts the term limits to between 2 to 4. FC's current constitution provides for 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yes, 3
Actually,
years.
that was the contention.
Yes, it was part of the contentions. And then secondly, the current FC's constitution does not have assistants. Yesterday's elections, you could not see a vice president or chairperson being elected, vice secretary general, vice treasurer. With the demise of, and may his soul rest in peace, the secretary general. Yes, you see, they had to incorporate another person. There was no succession. So I think it will help bolster his executive so that he can have different persons to always work with him. Now, back to your question, FC Leopards indeed is a sleeping giant. But the people like Shitera are the ones who are making it to continue being a sleeping giant. If you check the electoral margin, the number of voters were almost not more than 2,000. I do not know, Zita maybe will tell us the number of spoiled votes. And FC Leopards, whenever they walk in town, haughty, proud, you would think that they're the biggest team in Eastern Central Africa. Who unto you if you believe so? Because those numbers that we see in blue and white could not translate into membership and they could not vote.
I think therein lies the challenge for the leadership.
You know, as a big number or a wide margin of membership is a good source of finances. We cannot only be relying on corporate sponsorship. In fact, don't even go outside East Africa. Check on Yanga and Simba model. The membership drives or the number of members are able to contribute so much because in terms of giving or buying the number of jerseys. Now, the current generation of FC fans, I'm really sympathizing with you because perhaps you've only read about your past success stories. You have not been alive to the fact that to witness or FC replicate what was there. There are serious corporate governance issues. I spoke about this last Saturday. I was quoted somewhere, which I believe it will not now only be Ambani. It is up to the whole team that has been elected.
Absolutely.
And lastly, I know it may not be fair to bring it here, but I know FC Leopards is debt-ridden. So as they intend to move forward, let them address some of the past debts that they are facing. You know, there's a common joke which we say, the last time FC Leopards won the league, they were with the coach Sunday Kayuni, the Tanzanian, and the Tanzanian has cast FC Leopards.
Actually,
so will Ambani perhaps needs to midwife talks if indeed it's true that the curse is working, but the debts need to be paid.
Jacob, probably you can have the final word on this, and of course, the interesting thing about Boni is this is an ex-international, and coincidentally, the last time they won the league title, he was one of the players, actually.
And by the way, his brother was the top scorer, joint top scorer in 98.
Yes. Basically, right now, is the man.
And coincidentally, he played in Tanzania, so he might solve that problem.
I didn't get your question.
Boni actually played. The last time they won the title, 1998. He was a striker, and right now, he's the man. Every stakeholder is looking forward to guide again Ingwe to another title.
His brother is the coach.
So I don't want to belabor what they have said because they have spoken to this. But number one, hongera sana Boni. Hongera pia Mutoka because I think alimsalimia na kukubali kwamba pia amepoteza. I know that even during Shikanda's tenure, Mutoka was also involved in some things. So he knows 1 or 2, 3 things that he can still incorporate in the team, because now they are calling for unity. And Boni spoke in his speech, he said that he wants now every stakeholder to come on board and help. Now, there's something about that this is going to be like a calm warning that I would give to Boni, even as we celebrate his coming. You see, people can be disillusioned if it happens that when you place a lot of hope on a person, it doesn't work, for example. I would say that with Dan Shikanda. Many times we have had people saying that we need people who have played the game to be at the helm so that we see direct results. And so, for example, I think Boni and Shikanda are people of the same class in terms of playing for the national team, playing for at club level. And not much really, as far as the Leopards fans would expect, was achieved under Shikanda, especially things to do with titles, things to do with changing the structure of how recruitment happens and all that. And now a player comes in who is a big name everywhere. I pray so much that at the end of Boni's tenure, people will be saying, indeed, as a player, you justified your place in the leadership of AFC Leopards. And all the best to him.
Absolutely. We wish Boni all the best, and of course the